Have you ever found yourself stuck in the same pattern of thought or action that is just not helping you at all? If you've ever been curious how to change that, then this episode is for you. On today's show, I'm speaking with Lynnsey Robinson. Lynnsey is a certified hypnotherapist and intuitive coach and has spent a decade helping people achieve their big personal and success goals and move past what's been stopping them for good. Her job and passion is to help her clients embody their next level while cultivating deep self-love, mental resilience, and inner empowerment that will last lifetimes. She specializes in helping ambitious women all over the world clear the subconscious limiting beliefs keeping them stuck so that they can embody their highest potential and manifest their biggest desires automatically. Through her client work, hypnotherapy membership, and her podcast, High Vibe in It, she empowers others to harness their ability to attract all the abundance and success that life has to offer. Her story of her own journey from feeling stuck and unfulfilled to finding her purpose and passion is an amazing example of what can happen when you let go of fear and being comfortable to embrace something so much bigger and better. Here's my conversation with Lynnsey.
So welcome to the Imperfection In Progress podcast. Lynnsey, I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here.
I would love to talk a little bit about who you are and why you do what you do. I always wonder, what is it that made you choose this?
Let's get raw. You want to just get like rugged today? I'm not that badass, but I started doing this work. I would like to say I started in 2012, but I honestly, my soul started in 2005, and I will tell you why. I was always fascinated by the mind, and as I got older, I translated that to like, what makes a serial killer? And this is like 2002. Oh my gosh, 2001, 2002. I'm dating myself, but like way before true crime was like really like hyped. I was going to be a criminologist. I was studied forensic psychology in college. Once I graduated, I really thought that I was going to be a CSI, like Las Vegas. That was my favorite show. Obviously it's not the same. And I learned very quickly that there's a lot of death involved. Like you actually have to read these books with full on corpses in the pictures. And I was like, I just don't know if this is me. I'm kind of like questioning everything. At the same time, my sister gives me a book called Destiny of Souls by Michael Newton. I read the book. I am completely fascinated and like bowled over by this concept. For those that don't know, Michael Newton is a hypnotherapist. At the time, I had no idea what that even meant. Like, what is a hypnotherapist? Who basically took his clients to the life between life state. So right after they end their last life, choosing the next life, what that process looks like. This is completely only if you're in line with reincarnation. If you're not, please throw out everything I'm saying as nonsense. But if you are, highly recommend this book. And he basically just typed the book as, well, I don't know, he did transcripts of these sessions. So he would write down everything or tape record everything. And then the book was written as like a fly on the wall in the session. My life completely changed. Something lit up inside of me and I was like, what the heck is this? What is this? This touched on everything I loved. It touched on the mind. It touched on the metaphysical, spiritual part of being human. It literally touched on everything. And so I think in that moment I was definitely changed and again didn't know what that meant or how to translate it, but I did get a very deep sense to uproot my life, which whatever that meant at 19, and move across the country to Los Angeles. I thought Los Angeles or New York. Mind you, I was in Michigan at the time. And I thought if I could live in either of those two places, I could live anywhere. I could survive, I could make my own way, which is what I desperately wanted to do. And so I didn't like snow. So New York was out and I moved to Los Angeles and I stayed there, got a job, started making whatever money I could to just survive in Los Angeles. Fast forward about 8 years. Let's see, this would have been, about 2012. I had gotten married. I had had a child. And at that point, when I had a child, I knew I was not going to be doing what I was doing, which was retail management for 50 hours a week, sometimes more. I was working in a video game store. So I did midnight launches for video games and like inventories and all the things. And I just didn't, there's no way I could do that having a baby. There's no way that my mind or body could make myself go to that job knowing I had a brand new baby at home. I physically couldn't do it. So I was like, what do I like to do? What do I want to do? The goal was, how can I spend more time with how can I raise my child and contribute to the household and like it, right? Oh my God, what the heck? That's like almost impossible. And it did feel impossible. What am I going to do? Do an MLM? What am I going to do? Network marketing? What am I going to do? Sell cleaning products? I actually looked into it, selling things from my home and all that sort of thing. And I knew that wasn't me either. So in my head popped this book, Hypnotherapy, Destiny of Souls. You could do that. Why not? Oh my God. And everything lit up once again. I was like, okay, I remember this feeling. This is great. But then the other feeling, right, of the logic and the reasoning and the rationalization, and forgive me if I've told this story because it is so, this part is probably the most important part because I think we all go through this. But the voice that said, no, are you kidding me? You have a kid now. Just be a mom. Be a mom. Just do the responsible thing. Do what you have to do to support this child. Survival instinct kicked in. And the lit up feeling dimmed a little. And I was like, yeah, you're right, logic. Geez, you're always right, logic, right? I should just go back to my job and not like it and barely see my kid. But at least we'll be stable and I'll be contributing to the household and I'll have safe money coming in. But then the other thought said, but why can't I though? Like it was very soft. It wasn't as loud as the logic, which I now translate as fear. It's okay. Why can't I? Everyone who's ever done anything cool has had to start right now, right here where they're trying to decide what to do. So I made it really easy on myself. And I just said, what if I just Googled it? What if I just made a phone call? What if I just looked into how it would look if I were to do my dream? Right. And I called the first place that popped up on the search in Google, which was incidentally the same city that I would have gone back to work in. So Los Angeles is technically the county. So I was living in North Hollywood and I was working in Sherman Oaks, and that is where this institute was. So just down the street from where I would have gone back to work. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to travel anyway. So it was the same place, same area. And I called them and they said, we've actually just started a semester yesterday. So you could jump on this new semester like today if you want. I was like, oh, what? No, freaking out. So I was like, they're like, just come for a tour. You can take a look around and see if it's right for you. So I go to the tour, take my baby with me, he's like in the stroller. And he was a hit, by the way. Everybody loved him. And I called my husband from the institute because I just got really excited about it. Nothing seemed wrong except for the fear. So I called him and I was like, can I do this? And it wasn't a permission, can I? It was more like, give me a reason not to do this because I'm freaking out. I might do this. And he's like, do you want to do it? I said, yeah, I do. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. Just do it. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. I was like, oh God. Okay. Thank you. Love you. Okay, fine. So I did it. I signed up. I listened and it felt really good and it has not stopped feeling good. Incidentally, a couple months into it's a year-long program. So a few months into it, I came home and I just was always so excited to tell him, my husband, what I learned. Like, oh my God, did you know this? And I wish they would have taught us this in high school. Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And he goes, you know what's interesting is when most people start a new thing, they get excited at first, but the excitement levels out and they tend to just go on with it. He goes, but you seem to get more excited after we come home. And that's how I knew. That is how I knew. Like, how could I ever be doing anything else? And the reason I say I started in 2005, not just because of the book, but this is the creepiest part, is right after I graduated in 2013, I ended up working at the Institute as I guess, an instructor for the distance education. And I looked up my name in the database because who doesn't want to see what the school said about you, especially if you were just a student. And I got along with everybody, but I was just curious, like type in my name in the database. And I pulled up two profiles, the one that was a student / instructor now at the Institute. And the other one was from 2005 when I lived in Michigan. I apparently filled out an application for the distance program looking into it in 2005. I would have been 20 years old, not moved to California yet, but I was calling a school in California to do their distance program. It's the same school. Like it was the same school. There is no, I worked there. I know for a fact there is no other sister school. There's no other place I could have called. It was that school in that location from Michigan 8 years prior. Like what? What? And then I did the thing where I must have done the thing where you fill out the application and then you just never pick up when they contact you because I don't have any recollection of talking to anyone. And they never mentioned that I had already reached out, which is so funny. I just couldn't believe it. It was just another, I guess, sign from the universe that like, you're doing it. It's exactly what you're supposed to do. You knew it then, you know it now, and it's always going to be the thing that I know I'm supposed to be doing. So anyway, that's me.
That's an awesome story. The one thing
Weird.
that really stands out for me in all of that, though, is the fact that like it it didn't matter that there were years in between, right?
Yeah.
Like and I think that's sometimes, I mean, we're going to go all over this today, but I think sometimes when we have a dream, right, at some point in our lives, and we put it off because we do like that little whisper, we just do shove it down,
Yeah.
right? And let the logic, the fear part tell us that it does make sense. It doesn't necessarily mean it ever goes away.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think sometimes what I hear from people is, well, I don't really have a dream, or I'm not really sure what I would want. But the reality is we had one usually at
Mm,
some point,
yeah.
and we're afraid to even open up that door because we
Yep.
know what it feels like.
Yeah. I slammed the door so hard the first time. I didn't even pick up the phone. I guarantee you I didn't talk to anybody. I was too afraid because I've done that so many times. But there's something about, I don't know, for me, I felt like my son came into my life and was like, get ready because you're going to make some stuff happen. Now that I'm here, like, and it's different for everybody. He, I know, was my motivation to not settle. I think if I were to really put it, like, sift it all down, he was my motivation to stop settling for survival and actually thrive. And I never would have guessed that that would happen because my initial instinct was to survive and just to go back to being a manager of a GameStop and making money. But I said no. I chose that moment to say no because now I get to tell that story to my kids. And I never would have said that at the time, but now I can look back and be like, "Oh my gosh, yes." Like that's actually perfect. And he gets a lot of the credit for that because he forced me to really decide what I wanted to do, and I may not have ever done that without having that kind of motivation.
As an entrepreneur, I know what it's like to feel stuck and overwhelmed in my business. Often my perfectionism leads to procrastination, and I just want something simple to help move things forward. One way I've achieved this is to have really great tools to shift areas of my business where I feel less capable or skilled. My accountability partner, Janine Hauk, and I have pulled together more than 20 of the top entrepreneurial innovators and asked them to share their most game-changing tools to rock your business. We call it the Elevated Entrepreneur Bundle. For just $47, you get more than $1,000 worth of assessments, challenges, mini courses, quizzes, workshops, webinars, audio and video training, templates and guides that will have you out of your rut and into action. We suggest you keep it simple. Pick one or two areas that need the most help and use the tools that fit those first. Then, in a few months, when you're ready to grow in another area, it's time to use other tools that are waiting in your bundle. There are enough tools here to help you take consistent action all year long and then some. The Elevated Entrepreneur Bundle covers every area of your life and business, including productivity and time management, sales and profitability, mindset and self-doubt, AI content creation, leads and list building, branding, copy, mindfulness, health, and self-care. Don't miss this phenomenal resource created especially for female entrepreneurs who want to release the hustle and grind of business and step into clarity and ease with intuitive strategies. This $47 bundle is only available from May 15th to 29th. Grab it at www.elevatedseries.com/bundle today. Now, back to the show.
So tell us how hypnotism actually works, because there's a lot of garbage out there on movies, TV shows, all that kind of stuff.
There is so much garbage. I will say this as a blanket statement, and I will die on this hill that pretty much any movie that you could ever watch with hypnosis, I've never seen one representing hypnotherapy accurately. Never. Never, never, never. If you have one that you think might be accurate, please hit me up on Instagram and tell me to watch it because I'm very skeptical. But hypnosis at its base, first of all, every human goes into hypnosis every day. Every human goes into hypnosis every day. You have to go into a state of trance to fall asleep, to wake up, to come out of sleep, to those times where you drive home and you can't remember doing it. Or if you get lost in a book or a movie and you feel like it's happening to you, or like you get startled or you cry, there's a part of your mind that thinks it's actually happening. So that's a light state of trance. Any kind of guided meditation where there's an objective involved. If anyone tells you like this is a guided meditation to, stop procrastinating, hypnosis. I'm just gonna say it. It's a hypnosis. If there's an objective involved, that's the only difference between meditation and hypnosis. Except for that, hypnosis generally takes you to a deeper state where deeper work can be done. But if there's a guide, if there's speaking, if there's like an objective or a laser focused purpose for that meditation, it's not different. So the way that our minds work is when we're born, we have two or three things, depending on how you look at it. We have the fear of loud noises, the fear of falling, and the fight or flight response, which is activated with the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. So that's it. Your mind is completely open as a newborn. You are a sponge. That's why they say kids are sponges. They just take in everything. So around age 0 to about 8 or 9, you get then what's called, well, from that point, you're taking in everything. So you like fruits, but you don't like vegetables. You getting hugs and you don't like getting in trouble. Those kinds of things create knowns, what we call knowns for you, or truths that kind of stay in your mind as what makes you who you are. Now, around age 8, 9, 10, sometimes 7-ish, you get what's called the critical filter or the critical mind, which acts as a separator between the conscious and the now newly formed subconscious. What stays in the subconscious are those fears, those knowns or truths about you, anything that you picked up along the way. And in the conscious mind, which is only about 5 to 7% of your mind, BTW, the conscious mind holds the logic, reasoning, analytical skills, willpower, and what was the other one? Rationalization. Did I say that yet? So all of those conscious behaviors that we do, me speaking to you consciously, yes, I am speaking consciously, but the hand movements that I'm doing are subconscious. Well, once they become known to me, they're not anymore. But any kind of hand gesture, the ability to speak is a subconscious behavior, but the words that I choose is conscious. So both parts of your mind are working together all day, every day. The subconscious is just not necessarily accessible to you at will unless you're doing some sort of trance or mindset therapy work. But so that's the conscious and the subconscious. So when a new thought enters the conscious mind, it'll check in with that critical filter, which then checks in with the subconscious, which is the big boss, 90 to 95% of your mind power. It is the boss. So if there's anything in your subconscious, what's an example? Should we use I want to leave my job. I want to leave my crappy job. Maybe it's not crappy, but for me it was. I want to leave my dull, boring, not fulfilling job and do what excites me. Okay, that is a great one. So you have that new, bright, shiny idea. When you think about it, it gets you excited, it gives you those feelings, and then the logic kicks in. So what happens is that idea travels to the critical filter, which then again checks in with the subconscious. Now, what's in your subconscious that would contradict that? Well, I can give you a perfect example because I just did. That's not safe. You have to be responsible. What if you run out of money? What if it doesn't work out? We don't know what that looks like. And fun fact, an unknown can be and feel as dangerous as a known danger to your subconscious. They are on equal ground in terms of caution. So it will just kick that thought right back out because again, subconscious, 90 to 95% of your mind power, it's just not going to happen. You must get your subconscious on board, which is why I say anything that's true in your subconscious has happened for you. This is why we keep attracting repeating patterns into our lives because that is what's true for us. And your subconscious only job is to keep you alive, not necessarily happy or fulfilled or anything like that, but alive. So when you want to do something that makes you happy and alive, it's usually something that goes outside of that norm. And so your subconscious is going to try to do everything it can to claw you back into that safe box. So with hypnotherapy, what we can do is bypass the critical filter, go directly into the subconscious, and then we can start finding out what doesn't work for you anymore. So what is in there that doesn't work for you anymore? Well, I don't want to believe that it's not safe. I don't want to believe that I'm going to run out of money and it's not going to work out. Okay, so that's what we release and we replace it with what you want to believe that will help you get toward that goal. So I can't wait for this all to work out for me, or imagine how great it can be when it does work out, things like that. So letting go of things that don't serve you is huge because we all carry stuff around that has passed its expiration date. But unfortunately, the subconscious doesn't know what an expiration date is. It knows that if it worked for you today or yesterday, then it will work for you forever. So it's our job, once we know this stuff, if you'd like to have this job, is to go in and figure out what doesn't serve you so that you can then create a space that reflects who you actually are and who you are becoming and where you want to go. Boom.
So knowing all that, I think that's where, when I was saying about fast forwarding things,
Mhm.
we're able to do that bypassing. And it does do a lot of that work that could take us a really long time to go through on our own.
Yeah, well, and that's how I I describe it as like you could do this on your own. You can bust through these limiting beliefs without doing any subconscious work. But in the way I like to explain it, it's like chopping a tree down vertically. It'll get the job done, but it's so long and arduous. And why would you want to do it such a harder way? So it does fast track you simply by being able to access that part of your mind when you decide to use this kind of superpower that you already have to to take more control over what your subconscious believes. It's not just because you have it today doesn't mean you have to be stuck with it. And your subconscious, again, is not receptive most parts of the day. There's like two windows every single day without fail that you can work on your subconscious where it is perked up and listening. And that's 30 minutes after you wake up and 30 minutes before you go to bed because your mind is entering that alternate trance like state. But pretty much other than that, you're working consciously, and which means like if you're doing conscious affirmations and like saying it to yourself, it's doing something. I'm not going to say it's not doing anything, but would you rather it do 1% or like 50% potency? You know what I mean? Or 100% with hypnotherapy because we are speaking directly to the subconscious. So that's why I love it so much, and that's why my clients see such fast results. I think because it's this kind of state that we're not able to access every day. And with the help of a practitioner and somebody there to support you and hold your hand along the way, it's just magical. I love it.
I'm so glad we were able to maybe demystify some of the wrong thinking
Yeah,
around
yeah.
it. So thank you for that.
I do have to say, like, hypnosis, guys, is not mind control. There is nothing I can say or do or say to you in hypnosis that would make you go against your core morals or beliefs. This is all about me helping you get what you want. So I've seen stories of people saying, like, oh, I robbed a bank because I got hypnotized. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You wanted to rob the bank. There's no way a hypnotherapist can tell you you want to rob a bank, don't you? Like, no, it's not a thing. So please don't believe anything like that. I cannot make you go against what you would already do or say or feel. It's just sometimes what you want to feel is being blocked by something that's in there that's outdated. And that's the distinction. So it's not mind control, it's not paralysis, it's not even actually sleep. It's that dreamy, floaty space right before sleep that we've all felt before. And you are in complete control the entire time. So again, at any point in the session, if you feel uncomfortable, you can open your eyes, get up, walk out of the room, flip me off if you want to. I don't know why you would, but I'm just saying you do have that option. It's never a state where you can't get out of ever. So just putting it out there. It's very safe.
Awesome. Thanks for the clarification. I hear this all the time, Lindsay. Like when I'm having discovery calls with people and women who are telling me I'm working a 9 to 5, I don't love it. I'd really like to be doing, and they know like what this
Yeah.
other thing, but I don't think it can provide enough for me and I can't just quit my job and just do that thing. And I don't think it's possible. So maybe somehow I'll ease out of this and 5 years from now, but they've already been saying that for 5 years,
Yeah.
right? Like, what do you do around that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I completely understand that too, because when I worked at here's the other thing. When I worked at the Institute, they let me keep my job when I moved from California to Nevada. They let me keep the same job, but just do it from my computer instead of having to go into the office. It was also before the pandemic, so it didn't have anything to do with like everybody staying home. So it was really nice of them to do that at the time. And I held on to that way longer than I needed to, looking back, because I was so afraid. Because if I let go of that, I would just have my hypnotherapy practice. And that was like not safe money at the time. It was 2018, 2017. And I had no idea how to launch a practice online. It was brand new to me because I wasn't going to rent an office and I wasn't seeing regular clients because I wasn't putting my name out there. And I knew that if I let go of that job, I would be on my own and I would have to figure it out. And what if it didn't work? Like this was like chapter 2 of Scary Fear. Same thing, just a different situation. So I I held on to it a lot longer than I needed to. But again, my husband's going to come in and save the day. At least it did for me. He goes, "How much are you making at this job?" And I said, "Well," because it was like 20, 30 hours a week I was working. I don't even work that now. Like, I don't work that now. And I said, I was making like $14 an hour, 20 hours a week. And he goes, "So you're getting paid $14 an hour to not work on your business?" And I was like, "Oh, I did not do that kind of math. I did not have it laid out in front of me." So that's why I think that this is a whole kind of other thing, but having at least one person to bounce this stuff off of and have them feed it back to you in a way that's objective and that's like on the outside, getting a fresh set of eyes on it it can and will be a game changer for you. So for me, it was like, so they're paying me. I don't want to disparage it because it was a great job, but I'm just saying, like, it was not what I needed. And they were paying me to not work on my business. And at the end of the day, and so I was like, oh crap. So what could I do if I could use that time to just work on my business? So again, different for everybody. I just think it comes down to what's going to motivate you. What would feel so good that you couldn't say no to it? What would need to happen? And for me, it was, let me have my free time to actually see if I can make it work. Because there's that cliche of like, I'd so much rather regret doing something than not doing something. That is like the most terrifying thing to me, to know that if I don't get a chance to do a thing that I want to do, that to me is way more terrifying than trying it and failing. Because you're gonna fail, but the fail that you think it is not actually what the fail is. The fail is not trying again, because everyone who's ever succeeded has had to try again multiple times. So to me, that's not failing. That's just part of success. And I think when we can redefine that word, so many more doors open to us.
It's interesting because you were saying, what if? Like, what if, what
Mm.
if, when you're making those decisions. And I think sometimes that's part of it, is playing it out in our heads too. Like,
Mhm.
what if you could do it?
Yeah. I think if you're going to spend time, because we all do it, let's be honest. If you're going to spend time, what if it goes wrong? What if I fail? What if it goes terribly? If you're going to spend any amount of time there, you must also spend the equal amount of time in the happy, fluffy, rainbow, sparkly sunshine place of what if it all goes so much better than I've ever imagined? Because there are always ways that it can work out so much better than you imagine. Look back, everyone listening, look back on your life at something that didn't work out the way you wanted it to. Oh my God, I'm immediately thinking of my high school boyfriend. Could you imagine if I actually got the thing that I thought I wanted? Ugh, it worked out so much better than I ever could have planned. And there are so many examples of that in everyone's life. If you are to just take a second and think about it, there are so many things, so many metaphorical bullets that you've dodged, and so many more ways in the future ahead of you that it can work out so much better than you're thinking of right now. Your deepest desire that you have can work out so much better than your human brain can even process if you just allow that door to open. You don't even have to allow it to open. Just crack it. Just don't close it, is all I'm saying. And a way to do that is simply just to spend some time in the reality of, what if it all goes perfectly? What if it all goes beyond my wildest dreams? And you don't have to know what that looks like. Just don't close the door on it. And that can be enough to get the ball rolling a little bit.
That's a good tip. So, as a hypnotherapist,
Yeah.
when it comes to people who are struggling with that, right? Like I was saying, the women that I talk to are saying, I'm doing this, but I really want to be doing that. What can you do for them from that perspective?
Okay. So first, I got to situate myself here, getting excited. So the first thing that I would talk to them about is, why can't you do it? Because that's the first question I asked myself. Why can't I? And I didn't really have a real reason that wasn't fear-based. And I'm not saying fear isn't valid. I'm just saying it is what we all know what fear is. It's the only thing that can stop us, right? Really. So when we examine, okay, what is it that's stopping you? What is it that's holding you back? Why can't you do it already? It's usually, not always, but it's usually something to do with their perception of their ability to do the thing. And so what I always work on, no matter what they come to me for, is building you up from within. Because if you could feel like you were safe to follow your intuition, if you could feel like you were safe to follow your dream and that you could actually achieve it, what the heck else do you need is my question. Like, if that's all we want. We just want to know that we are capable and we can do it. You have been able to do everything that you thought you could do, chances are, unless you're trying to fly out the window. Chances are everything that you believed you could do, you have done. And that says everything you need to know. You know what they say, like, whether you think you can or you can't, you're absolutely correct. And so if you thought you could, if you knew that your intuition was steering you in the right direction and you could not fail, what would you do then? How would you show up differently? And that's what hypnotherapy can do. It really, truly just builds those building blocks within yourself for resilience so that even if it doesn't work out the way you thought it, you wanted it, you can move on and bounce back from it. Bouncing back is one of the most important skills that we could have as human beings. So resilience, empowerment, self-worth, self-love, confidence. Oh my gosh, if you had the intuition, if you had those things, what could then be possible for you? And I've seen it. Oh my gosh, I have seen it so many times. I can't even deny it at this point. There are so many things that have come out through my client sessions that I was even like, all right, well, I don't know if we can get all that done in the amount of time we have, because I can't ever give guarantees, and I would never say to somebody, we're never going to get it done. But in my head, I'm like, oh, geez, Lynnsey, all right, put your big girl pants on. Here we go. But they've amazed me, shocked me, blown it out of the water every single time. Things that hit $1 million mark in revenue, found their person, the person they've been looking for years, when they've been stuck at an income level for years. I'm saying years. With just a few weeks of hypnotherapy, they're able to bust through that and actually pull in that energy of more. Thank you, more, please. Thank you, more, please. That's my favorite thing to say. Thank you, universe, more, please. Thank you, more, please. Thank you, more, please. It's that energy of like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for this. I can't wait to see what's next. I had a client that was struggling to get pregnant. And again, this is sometimes a medical thing that you would need medical advice on. I am not a doctor. But if there's anything in your mind that is holding you back from fertility and getting pregnant, it can happen. It's happened multiple times with my clients. And that's really, what it comes down to is if it's something in your mind that's holding you back, it doesn't have to hold you back. It really doesn't.
That's amazing. I love the whole premise of hypnotherapy, just speeding you past those blocks.
Yeah.
So it is really cool how we can do that. So on another topic totally, but I ask every single guest this, what do you resonate more to? Being a people pleaser, being a perfectionist, or being a procrastinator?
I would definitely say perfectionist. I know that procrastination and perfectionism are like sisters. I think if I were to gravitate towards one, it would be perfectionism, because in the past, I'm getting better every day. And this is what I highly recommend anybody do. If you have a habit or something about yourself that isn't serving you, and instead of owning it in the moment, like I could say, oh, I'm a perfectionist for sure. I am saying in the past, I have shown perfectionist tendencies, but I'm getting better every day. And that just feels more empowering because you're not labeled, right? You have control over the situation. Tomorrow, I'm going to be even better than I am today about it. And it brings the subconscious more conscious. So that's just a happy little tip for you guys. But I have found myself in the past obsessing over the tiny details of an email that I'm about to send, or how my page looks on my website, or gosh, pretty much you apply it to anything really. And I get very nitpicky, and it's translated to my marriage and situations where I'll send my husband to the store and he'll come home and I'll be like, but you didn't get the right bread. Oh no. Like, that's not a thing. That's not a real thing. Why am I, why do I care about that? But I think that it's different. Everybody becomes a perfectionist in different ways. But for me, I know that I've realized as an adult, I had no control as a kid. My world was turned upside down. I did not feel safe. There was no stability. There was no functionality in my childhood, really, until I was about 10 or 11 years old. And guess when my critical filter developed? Now that we know this, guys, what happened when you were in that age that would have solidified in that subconscious? And for me, you got to keep control over everything. You got to control everything, micromanage everything so that it doesn't fall apart. And so that's something that I've been working on pretty much my whole life is kind of letting go and knowing that it's going to work out. If I don't have my claws or my fingers in every cookie jar, it's fine. I don't need to do that anymore. And when do we ever really need to? But it's that feeling of safety. At the end of the day, we all just want to feel safe. And again, our minds are working constantly to make us feel safe. But what is it in your mind that translates to safety? For me, it was unhealthy perfectionism. For you, it might be staying at the same income level or staying at the job or staying in the relationship because it's comfortably uncomfortable. And so, yeah, it's just bringing the subconscious conscious, like I said, and we're all doing it every day. And I'm working on perfectionism every single day and realizing that I don't need it to be safe because I am safe.
I love hearing this once again, because here are the experts who are doing their own thing. I'm so good at this. I'm slaying these things, but we still all have stuff. And I think it's
Yeah.
important to understand we can all work to be imperfect. It's okay.
Yes. Oh my gosh. If there was one thing I wish someone would have told me when I first started my business is like, what works for them is not going to work for you, probably. But isn't it fun that you get to now figure out what does work for you? And it will be imperfect and it will be beautiful. Like, my goodness, if I would have just let myself believe that, oh, I would have saved myself so much energy and time. So hopefully, if that lands with you, you're able to like skip. Skip all the nonsense of telling yourself that you have to be like this person or you have to do it the same way or it has to be perfect because, oh my gosh, the best things aren't. The best things aren't perfect. Some of my
That's
favorite
right.
things aren't perfect.
That's right. And I know you're giving us a free trial to the Align Your Mind membership. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So my membership is it's essentially a collection of all of my hypnotherapy audios. And then I have a bonus content section with all the other fun things that I incorporate with my practice, like EFT sessions, Oracle/tarot card readings. I have affirmation courses. I have a couple different courses in there. And journals like gratitude journals and practices, everything under the sun, really, to help you level up your mindset and really own that part of you that has felt out of control, maybe for some people, that part of your mind that you don't seem to have control over. Let's help you get some control back over it and decide what you want to do. So it has all my best digital content in there. The audios are very, very popular. So pretty much every topic under the sun I have for you to listen to, and they're very relaxing. They feel very good to do, and they can help you with pretty much anything. I got procrastination in there. I think I got perfectionism, but I have focus, motivation, and then I got a lot of spiritual stuff too. So healthy stuff like health and wellness, all kinds. So 7-day free trial to try it out and see if it's a good fit for you. Yeah, enjoy. I hope you love it because I've spent a lot of time on it and I'm very, very proud of it.
Thank you so much. It's going to be amazing to be able to go through. Just go to the show notes and you can grab the link to it there. And Lynnsey, where is the best place for them to connect with you?
Best place, best place. Right now would probably be Instagram or TikTok. I'm on the TikTok. I actually went viral twice on the TikTok. So
Woohoo!
I know that seems to be more poppin', but my Instagram, I think I show up more regularly. So, either one, it's just Lynnsey Robinson, Lynnsey Robinson on anything. My website, any social media, it's always the same. So you'll find me.
Awesome. And we have everything in the show notes as well in order to connect in with Lynnsey. Thank you again so much for being a part of the Imperfection in Progress podcast.
I have loved this. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.